The Pacific Ocean always seems larger than the imagination can grasp. Its waters stretch across half the planet, connecting the icy Arctic to the warmth of Oceania, weaving together climates, cultures, and forms of life that rarely meet anywhere else. At first glance, it appears to be just a vast blue expanse, but a closer look reveals that it is a planet within a planet, a pulsating universe, full of invisible currents, submerged landscapes, and ecosystems as diverse as deserts and forests on land. In its deepest regions, where sunlight never reaches, the Pacific reveals its most mysterious side. Chains of underwater mountains guide currents, forming true rivers of nutrients that rise from the depths to feed life at the surface. In reefs and coastal areas, an astonishing diversity transforms every rock, every strand of algae, and every shadow into a small refuge. Nothing exists there by chance. From microscopic organisms to the largest marine animals, everything is woven into a constant network of adaptation and balance. It is within this vast, dynamic, and interconnected setting that some of the planet's most remarkable creatures emerge. Among them is a predator whose anatomy and behavior reflect millions of years of evolution, perfectly tuned to the marine environment. To understand how the Pacific functions in all its complexity, it's impossible not to begin with it. So we now move forward to meet one of the ocean's most emblematic creatures, the great white shark and its astonishing natural efficiency. Amid the cold, nutrient-rich waters of the Pacific, the great white shark emerges as a clear example of how evolution sculpts a creature to operate with precision. Its elongated, muscular, and hydrodynamic body glides through the water effortlessly, minimizing energy use with every movement. Nothing about it is superfluous. Shape, texture, strength, and flexibility have all been refined, so it can travel vast distances with the least possible loss of energy. It doesn't rely on displays of power, it relies on efficiency. The great white's perception is another astonishing feature. It can detect subtle vibrations, shifts in current, and even faint electrical signals emitted by other animals. This sensitivity doesn't turn the ocean into a battlefield, it turns it into a living map where every movement has meaning. That's how it interprets its world. Observing patterns, assessing distances, and exploring opportunities calmly and deliberately. Along the Pacific's coasts, especially where seals, sea lions, and migratory schools of fish are found, the great white adapts to local conditions with surprising ease. Rather than acting impulsively, it observes. It keeps its distance, studies behavior, and chooses the perfect moment to approach. Each movement is deliberate, the result of reading the environment and drawing on years of instinct and experience. This efficiency doesn't make the great white an invincible species. On the contrary, its role is part of a larger balance that sustains marine life. Its presence regulates populations, keeps schools of fish healthier, and helps ensure the ecosystem remains stable. It doesn't rule the ocean through fear, but through the ecological function it fulfills, silent, essential, and deeply connected to the world around it. Across the Pacific, other predators coexist with the great white, each with its own strategies. Among them, however, there is one group that stands out for something beyond physical power or speed: collective intelligence. Organized, cooperative, and highly communicative, these creatures transform the ocean into a realm of planning and teamwork. And while the great white fulfills its solitary purpose in this vast ocean, other beings follow very different paths. In certain parts of the Pacific, marine life moves to a collective rhythm, almost choreographed, where decisions are shared and strategies arise from unity. These are moments when the ocean ceases to be a mere territory of instinct and begins to reveal complex behaviors that involve learning, communication, and memory, opening space for phenomena that can only exist when minds work together. Farther north, in the cold and deep waters of the Pacific, marine life takes on a completely different rhythm. Here, sounds travel immense distances, crossing kilometers beneath the surface like invisible messages. They are not random noises, but coordinated signals revealing the presence of entire families journeying together, voices that recognize, guide, and orient one another as if they shared a common map no one else can see. These groups, formed by individuals who remain together for life, make up some of the ocean's most complex societies. There is a clear structure, led by the experience of older females who hold the knowledge of routes, currents, and the locations of prey through the seasons. This inheritance is not physical but cultural, passed from one generation to the next like a living book that never stops being written. The way these animals interact turns every movement into something greater than simple travel. They adjust their speed, align their positions, respond to each other's calls, and reorganize their formation whenever necessary. Nothing seems accidental. There's cooperation, patience, listening. Each member understands their role, contributes to the success of a whole, whether to watch, to lead, or simply to accompany. When they hunt, their behavior becomes even more remarkable. They observe, test, reposition, exchange signals, and adapt their tactics to the type of prey available. In some regions of the Pacific, they specialize in fish. In others, they focus on marine mammals. And there are places where different families adopt entirely distinct strategies, as if each had its own hunting culture, something rare and fascinating in the animal world. Physical strength is there, unmistakable, yet it is rarely the defining trait. What truly sets these groups apart is their ability to plan and act together. Decisions are made with precision, responses come swiftly, and their synchronized movements resemble a carefully rehearsed dance, though everything arises from pure social instinct and continuous learning. The presence of these animals transforms the atmosphere of the sea around them. Fish scatter, birds adjust their diving patterns, and even the soundscape shifts. It's as though the ocean itself recognizes these groups and reorganizes around them, allowing each family to continue its journey with clarity and purpose. And while these social travelers cross great distances, other creatures of the Pacific follow very different paths. Far from the large groups and the echoes that ripple through the cold waters, there are those who choose absolute silence, living alone among rocks, crevices, and shadows, a world where intelligence takes another form, as complex as it is discreet. In the colder, rockier regions of the North Pacific, where sunlight struggles to reach the seafloor and the water temperature steadily drops, lives one of the ocean's most enigmatic beings. It doesn't announce itself, doesn't display power, and doesn't rely on organized groups. It prefers stillness, observation, and the ability to shape itself to its surroundings as though it were part of them. Every movement is silent, flexible, and filled with intent. The giant Pacific octopus possesses a kind of intelligence revealed in the details. Its 8 arms function as extensions of a distributed brain. Each suction cup examines textures, identifies objects, recognizes shapes, and makes small, independent decisions. It is a decentralized mind, capable of exploring crevices, removing obstacles, and solving problems with remarkable ease. Camouflage is one of its most striking abilities. In an instant, its skin can change color, brightness, and texture, transforming into rock, sand, or algae with astonishing accuracy. It's more than protection, it's a tool for approach. By blending perfectly with its surroundings, it can observe without being seen, reading vibrations, movements, and opportunities around it. When exploring the ocean floor, the octopus acts like a master of pattern recognition. It opens shells with skill, investigates deep cavities, and examines objects with visible curiosity. In controlled environments, it has been observed unscrewing jars, navigating mazes, and remembering routes days later, behaviors that reinforce the uniqueness of its mind. Its strength is equally impressive. Each arm holds enough power to manipulate prey larger than itself, and every action seems deliberate. Nothing is done impulsively. There is study, precision, and adaptation. The octopus lives alone, occupying temporary dens that it changes frequently, as though each shelter were part of a private itinerary only it understands. And while this solitary inhabitant masters the art of camouflage and individual strategy, other creatures of the Pacific take the opposite path, choosing not to vanish, but to blend with their environment in another way, remaining still, discreet, and almost indistinguishable from the reef itself. It is in this realm of colors, textures, and imitation that one of the ocean's true masters of disguise emerges. In the tropical reefs of the Pacific, where vivid colors and countless shapes compete for every inch of space, lives a creature that takes an entirely different path. Instead of standing out, it disappears. Its irregular body mimics fragments of coral and weathered rock, creating an illusion so perfect that even up close, it's hard to tell there's life beneath the surface. This ability isn't a passing trick, it's the foundation of its existence. The stonefish doesn't depend on speed or strength. Its strategy is stillness. It remains in the same spot for long periods, silently observing the movement around it. Small fish, crustaceans, and other organisms pass by unaware that the rock beside them is watching. Its natural venom, concentrated in dorsal spines, serves as protection, ensuring that its quiet disguise doesn't become a weakness in such a perilous environment. This way of life demands a fine sensitivity to its surroundings. The stonefish perceives even the faintest vibrations, recognizes patterns in the current, and senses the approach of potential threats. Its nearly invisible presence contributes to the balance of the reefs by keeping smaller populations under control. Nothing about its behavior suggests aggression. Everything points to an existence shaped by silent efficiency. The stonefish's camouflage is not just a physical adaptation, but a constant dialogue with its environment. As the scenery changes, it adjusts its posture, its shade, even tiny irregularities that make it appear more convincingly like part of the reef. This deep integration with its habitat turns its presence into part of the landscape itself, as if the reef recognizes and embraces it. And while some animals vanish completely, blending into the world around them, others prefer the shadows, moving with precision and purpose through the narrow spaces of the reef. Among the deep crevices of the Pacific reefs, where light filters through in fragments and space narrows, the moray eel finds the perfect setting for its way of life. Its long, flexible body easily adapts to the labyrinth of tunnels and corridors few other fish can reach. There, quiet and nearly motionless, it watches the world with alert eyes, analyzing everything before making a move. The moray's daily routine is one of patience. It rarely exposes its whole body, preferring to keep only its head out of the hole, sensing the water's vibrations and the movements of nearby creatures. Its sense of smell is extraordinarily sharp, allowing it to understand what's happening around it even when visibility is low. It is not an impulsive hunter, it is a specialist in timing. Despite its intimidating appearance, the moray eel is not needlessly aggressive. Its reactions depend on the context. It knows when to remain still, when to retreat, and when to strike. This ability to calculate risk is vital to its survival, as is its scaleless skin, coated in a protective layer that helps it slip through tight spaces and shields it from common reef parasites. In some regions, the moray forms curious alliances with other fish, such as groupers and butterfly fish. In these unusual partnerships, each species benefits from the other's skills to locate hidden prey. These moments reveal that, even while leading a solitary life, the moray is still part of the intricate web of cooperation that sustains reef ecosystems. And above the caverns where the moray reigns in silence, the scenery transforms completely. The water grows brighter, colors multiply, and the landscape becomes richer and more complex. Here, living structures rise like underwater cities, vast habitats where thousands of species depend on one another to survive. Beneath the filtered light that pierces the surface, the Pacific's coral reefs reveal a vibrant and astonishingly complex world. They are living structures built over thousands of years by tiny organisms that, united, form immense underwater fortresses. Each small polyp contributes to the creation of platforms, towers, and labyrinths that shelter an extraordinary diversity of species. It's an ecosystem so dense and organized that it resembles a city in constant motion. The diversity of these reefs is beyond comparison. Brightly colored fish patrol small territories, crustaceans hide in minute burrows, sponges filter the water in silence, and corals expand millimeter by millimeter, transforming the seafloor into a living mosaic. Nothing here exists in isolation. Every organism plays a role that sustains the others, forming a delicate balance of competition, survival, and coexistence. Life in this environment is relentless. Small fish defend their territories with surprising determination, algae grow rapidly and must be kept in check, and anemones extend their tentacles in anticipation of drifting nutrients. Even the beauty of the reef conceals a constant dynamic of rivalry and cooperation that unfolds day and night, a system that never truly rests. At the same time, the reefs serve as meeting points for countless species. Some come to feed, others to hide, and many to reproduce. The constant movement creates an atmosphere of fluidity, where every presence influences the behavior of others. It is a natural dance that has repeated itself for countless generations. Life on the reef depends on the health of these tiny builders. When a coral becomes sick or dies, everything around it begins to unravel. Species vanish, interactions collapse, and the once solid structure starts to weaken. That's why balance here is essential, not only for those who inhabit the reefs, but for the entire ocean that depends on them. And among the many species that drift through these underwater cities, some stand out for their special partnerships with the reef itself. Among the Pacific reefs, two small inhabitants stand out for something beyond their vivid colors. The clownfish and the surgeonfish embody one of the ocean's most delicate and harmonious relationships. The first finds protection among the tentacles of sea anemones, adapting through special mucus coating that shields it from their stinging cells. The second moves swiftly through the reef, controlling the growth of algae and helping to keep the ecosystem healthy. The relationship between the clownfish and its anemone is one of nature's best-known partnerships. The fish keeps the anemone free from debris, attracts small prey, and in return, receives a safe home among its tentacles. This cooperation, refined over generations, shows how even the smallest creatures sustain vital parts of reef life. It's a balance built on instinctive trust and fine-tuned adaptation. The surgeonfish, meanwhile, plays the role of a quiet gardener. By feeding on algae, it prevents their uncontrolled spread, which could otherwise smother the reef. Its quick, almost choreographed movements carry it across large areas every day, ensuring that other species have space to thrive. Though discreet, its presence is essential to maintaining harmony in the reef's ecosystem. Together, these two fish symbolize the ocean's gentler side, the capacity to coexist, to build relationships, and to turn small interactions into something vital for life itself. Amid so many struggles and challenges, they remind us that nature is not only about competition, it is also about partnership, exchange, and balance. And while these small creatures reinforce the importance of delicate relationships within the reef, the Pacific as a whole continues to reveal an even broader network of interdependence, showing that every species, whether great or tiny, plays an indispensable role in sustaining the life of this vast ocean. When we look across the Pacific, from its cold northern waters to its tropical reefs, from rocky crevices to vast underwater plains, we begin to see that everything functions as part of a single organism. Its balance depends on both large and small interactions, on solitary strategies and collective behaviors, on creatures almost invisible and others that travel immense distances. Each species, in its own unique way of existing, helps uphold the structure that sustains this endless blue expanse. By bringing together so many different forms of life, the Pacific reminds us that nature doesn't thrive through extremes, but through connection. Nothing here exists in isolation. Everything supports, influences, and transforms everything else over time. It is this web of relationships that keeps the ocean alive, adaptable, and ever in motion. A timeless reminder that the true strength of the natural world rarely lies in a single dominant force, but in the quiet harmony that arises when every part, great or small, fulfills its purpose. To watch more incredible documentaries like this one, subscribe to the channel and see you next time.